Let me have the fund flow statement, FFS in short. On the left hand side, we'll have sources of funds, and on the right hand side, we'll have uses of funds. So this is a horizontal structure. You can also have it as a vertical structure. Okay. So when I say sources of funds, I'll be capturing all my long-term sources, and in uses of funds, all my long-term uses will be captured, right? This box represents my total long-term sources, whereas this box represents my long-term uses. So if you notice, this is my long-term sources, whereas this is my long-term uses. So what you can see very visibly is I have more of long-term sources, whereas less of long-term uses. It means we have this region, unshaded region, which is remaining vacant. So this is nothing but surplus. So this surplus of long-term sources over long-term uses, we call it as net working capital. Surplus of long-term sources over long-term uses, we call it as net working capital. And this is the position which every organization should try to achieve. Because they should have more sources, less long-term uses, and there can be some surplus. This surplus will go for funding current assets over and above current liability. That is current asset minus current liability. So we are calling it as net working capital. But your fund flow statement will also reveal something other than this. And let's say this box is going to represent long-term uses. Okay. And on the left-hand side, this box represents long-term sources. So if you notice, on the right-hand side, the long-term uses are much bigger, right? The source for this long-term uses are very small. It means long-term uses are funded not only by long-term sources, but also by something else. So this region is called as negative net working capital. This is called as negative net working capital. It is nothing but diversion of short-term funds for long-term uses.